CNN senior political commentator Van Jones. Van, what do you think?
Hey, listen, man, this guy comes out of nowhere 2 weeks ago. Nobody even knew his name.
Yeah.
And he lit up the grassroots. He lit up the internet. He was the first person to come out and define Donald Trump as weird. And suddenly people had a way to talk about him. We were, oh, he's a fascist, he's a dictator. We were actually giving him more power. This guy punctured the Donald Trump balloon and comes out of nowhere, the ultimate dark horse candidate. So it extends the honeymoon. A lot of people are excited, but it's not all one way. You do have the other side of this thing, which is, first of all, what worries me is you see a lot of relief from the conservatives. They were scared of Josh Shapiro. They were scared of a Mark Kelly. They thought that would help define Kamala more to the middle. You see a lot of rejoicing on the right. That's not good. Also, you've got some disquiet in the Jewish community. Some people had their hopes up. Maybe you're going to, now that gets pulled away. Is it just because he's a moderate, or is there some anti-Jewish bias here? So the party is still digesting this. I think if you're a young Muslim or a young Arab or someone who's concerned about Gaza, it gives you a reason to stay excited about Kamala, because that was going to be hard for the party to digest. So you've got a party now trying to figure out, is this good? Is this bad? What does it mean for the young people? They stay excited. But the most important thing I can say is, only in America can somebody who nobody literally heard of 2 weeks ago be on his way to being possibly the vice president of the United States, second to the most powerful person in the world, because he made the argument for himself. He made the case against Donald Trump. He made the case against Republicans in a fresh way. And here we are. This is the most unpredictable race that you've seen, I think, in the past 50 years. It's just nuts.
Yeah, and Van, I think you make a great point about how I think the Harris campaign, the vice president wanted to keep the momentum going, wanted to keep the energy level up. That had been certainly the case when the president stepped aside and Kamala Harris took the reins of the party. And Tim WALZ been talking about how Trump out on the campaign trail has been talking about Hannibal Lecter and so on, and Democrats eat that up. But let's take a look at this recent poll of America's opinion of Governor WALZ. 71% say they have no opinion. He's, as you were saying, he's virtually unknown as a political figure. That does present some concerns, I would think, inside the Democratic Party once I guess some of the hangover wears off and the excitement wears off a little bit, and they have to get down to the nitty-gritty of campaigning.
Look, you've now got a 24, 48-hour window to define this guy. And you already know the Republicans are going to say, he knew. He's a positive populist. He's a populist. He's an up with the people guy. He's an everyday guy. He's not an elite. He's not a coastal elite at all. He's a positive populist. The problem with the J.D. Vance, the problem with the Donald Trump, they call themselves populists, but they're negative populists. Why are they for the people? Because they're mad at the transgender people. They're mad at the left. They're mad at this. They're mad at that. This guy's not mad at anybody. He likes everybody. He loves everybody. He just wants people to be able to see a doctor when they're sick, to be able to send their kids to a good school. So he's a populist, but he's positive. I think that's going to be very, very difficult for the Republicans to deal with, because when they try to paint him as some crazy extremist, he doesn't come across that way at all. Economically, he might be a little bit to the left, but culturally, personally, he's right down the middle. I think he's going to give them fits. I think J.D. Vance is going to look like an idiot trying to debate this guy. I think it's going to be a very, very fascinating race going forward.
And Van, we just got a statement from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. He just said this, we can show this to our viewers. Nearly 2 weeks ago, Vice President Harris asked me to work with her team to complete the vetting process to be considered as her running mate. And following those conversations on Sunday, I was grateful to have the opportunity to speak with the Vice President directly about her vision for the role and the campaign ahead. Vice President Kamala Harris has my enthusiastic support, and I know that Governor Tim Walz is an exceptionally strong addition to the ticket who will help Kamala move our country forward. I suppose we might see the governor out there in Philadelphia later today. Maybe we won't. We'll find out about that. But it seems to be a stretch that there would be sour grapes here, and that Shapiro is not going to offer his full support.
Look, Josh Shapiro is a class act from beginning to end. His vote for him. I mean, the guy is a vote magnet. And there's a reason for that. He is a class act. He's a true American, and he's going to show up, and he's going.
Do you think it was a little risky, though, Van,
Yeah.
that she didn't go with Shapiro to kind of lock down Pennsylvania? I mean, yes, David Challenger was saying earlier, just because you pick him as your running mate doesn't mean you automatically win Pennsylvania. But I got to think it would have helped just a little bit.
Hey, listen, the conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans, they were chewing their fingernails down to the knuckle because they were afraid of a Josh Shapiro. They were afraid of a Mark Kelly. They're not as afraid of this new governor because they think they can define him. So here's the challenge you've got in this party. And people don't want to talk about it. We got to talk about it. On the one hand, you have a lot of young people who are concerned about Gaza. You have a lot of Muslims and Arabs and others. They have not felt seen by the Biden administration. You start hearing that genocide joke. That was building. And so those folks needed to have a candidate that they could feel comfortable with. This helps them in that regard. But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened, that's going to have to get worked out. It's going to have to get talked through. But I tell you what, if you have a Josh Shapiro who says, you know what, I give this my stamp. I give this my support. I believe in this ticket. That's going to help a great deal. And Josh Shapiro has a magnificent future in this party regardless. It's mostly positive. You're seeing mostly enthusiasm, but there is some disquiet and conversation we got to have inside this party.
Interesting. All right, Van, I know that conversation will continue. I'm sure there are a lot of folks in the Harris campaign who will push back on some of those notions there, but we'll keep that conversation going. Van Jones.
Let's keep talking.
Appreciate it.
I'm excited.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll be right back.